Hi guys, today we're gonna tackle all about self-perspective from the philosophers.
Socrates believed that the most important pursuit was the self-knowledge. He famously said, "Know thyself." He argued that true happiness and virtue came from understanding oneself, one's strengths, weaknesses, and purpose. Socrates believed that the highest goal in life is to improve the soul. He encouraged people to live in accordance with their own conviction and to seek alignment between their action and their understanding of what is good. Plato believed that a true self existed in a realm of perfect forms, separate from the physical world. The forms are internal, unchanging concepts like beauty, justice, and truth. Our physical bodies are imperfect copies of these forms. To Plato, the self was not something physical or material, but something spiritual or immaterial. Plato believed that the soul was the true essence of person, the part that made them a rational being. He thought that the soul was immortal and separable from the body. Aristotle believed that the soul was the form or essence of the body. He argued that the soul was not separate from the body but rather the principle that gave the body life and purpose. The soul is the structure of the body that allows humans to perform activities like thinking, imagining, and perceiving. Aristotle believed that the soul is the essence of the self.
So now guys, let's move to the medieval philosophers. So the first philosopher is Saint Augustine, and the second is Anthony de Mello. Saint Augustine saw the human self as inherently divided. He believed that we compose of two parts, the soul and the body. The soul is a view of the true self, possessing reason, will, and capacity of love. The body, on the other hand, is merely a vessel for a soul and is prone to temptation and sin. Saint Augustine's ideas about the self have a profound impact on the Western church. He emphasizes on the internal struggles, the search for God, and the transformative power of grace continue to resonate with people seeking meaning and purpose in life. De Mello emphasizes the importance of awakening to this true self, which he often referred to as the unconditioned self-to-self or the self-to-selves. This awakening involves letting go of the false self to constructed identity based on our rules, beliefs, and desires. De Mello emphasizes on letting go, embracing emptiness, and living the present. Moment can be a powerful guide for those seeking to transcend the limitation of the ego and discover their true nature. So now, let's move to the modern philosophers. So the modern philosophers, the number one is Descartes, John Locke, David Hume, Immanuel Kant, Paul Churchland, Edmund Husserl, and Myers Merleau-Ponty.
René Descartes believed that the self is a non-physical thinking substance that is distinct from the body. He believed that the mind is the essential part of who we are, and that the self is the same unchanging entity throughout life. René Descartes believed that the self is a non-physical thinking substance that is distinct from the body. He called this substance the mind or soul. Descartes' ideas about the self are based on his belief in mind-body dualism, which is the idea that humans are made up of two parts, a material body and a non-material mind. John Locke, he believed that the self is a conscious awareness of itself as a thinking, reasoning, and reflecting identity. He believed that the self is not necessarily embedded in a single soul or substance. John Locke, an English philosopher and physician, believed that the self is a thinking, reasoning being whose identity is defined by its consciousness and memory. He thought that the self is not tied to a specific soul or body, but rather is a psychological continuity that persists over time.
David Hume was a Scottish philosopher known for his ideas about how we learn and understand the world. He believed all knowledge comes from experience and questioned ideas like cause and effect, which we assume but never delicacy. Hume was skeptical about religion, challenging beliefs in miracles and arguments for God. His key works like A Treatise of Human Nature and Inquiry concerning human understanding shaped modern philosophy and influenced fields like science and economics. Immanuel Kant was a German philosopher who explained how people understand and think about the world. He said our minds don't just receive information but organize it using ideas like space and time. Kant believed we can only know how things seem to us, not how they truly are. He also thought that we should make decisions based on rules that are fair and could apply to everyone. His ideas, written in books like Critique of Pure Reason, had a big impact on philosophy, science, and how we think about right and wrong.
George Carlin, a Kantian philosopher, believed that the self is a brain. He held a materialism idea that only matter exists, and intuitive materialism, the idea that our common understanding of mind is incorrect. Edmund Husserl, 1859 to 1938, believed that the self is a unity of the physical and mental, and the self-knowledge is the key to all knowledge. His philosophy of the self is based on the idea of philosophy, which is the idea that knowledge of the self and world come from the experience.
Kant believed that the physical body was an important aspect of the subjective self. This idea is opposition to rationalism and empiricism. Rationalism states the reason and mental perception are the basis of knowledge and self, rather than bodily senses and experience.
Jacques Derrida, a philosopher known for his deconstructive approach, challenged the notion of a fixed and stable self. He argued that our identity is constantly shaped by language, culture, and our ongoing interaction with the world. Derrida's concept of difference highlights how meaning is always different, never fully present, making the self a fluid and elusive entity. He believed that the Western emphasis on a central truth limited our understanding of both the world and ourselves, and sought to deconstruct this system to enable a more open and nuanced view of identity.
Monsieur Foucault and Richard Bertrand offered unique perspective on how humans understand life. Foucault focused on the relationship between power and knowledge. He believed that society created systems such as laws, norms, and institutions that define what is true or acceptable. This system influences how now people think and behave, often without them realizing it. Foucault's work encouraged us to question this system, uncovered hidden power structure, and create opportunities for freedom and change. On the other, Rorty emphasized the role of conversation is shaping life. He rejected the idea of universal truths or objects knowledge suggestion instead that meaning is created through human interaction and shared experience. Horror's goal is not discovered absolute answer, but to improve our lives, but embracing different perspectives and fostering different improve our lives, but embracing different perspective and fostering open dialogue together. This thinking challenge us to think how we view truth, knowledge, and the system that shape our lives.
Good day, sir, and I'm Dr. Stagila Brother, and I'm reporting about Eastern philosophy. Eastern philosophy generally view the self as an illusion and a product of the mind. Eastern philosophy also emphasizes the importance of living in harmony with others and the greater whole. It explains that Eastern philosophy often teaches that the self is not a fixed or separated entity but rather an illusion created by the mind. Instead of focusing on individual identity, it emphasizes the importance of living in harmony with others and being connected to the larger universe for the greater whole.